The storm had raged for days, churning the sea into a wild beast of foam and fury. Dr. Elias Carter clung to the ship's railing, staring into the mist-covered horizon where the legend of Chronosia, the lost city of time, awaited. For centuries, sailors whispered of a city swallowed by time itself. Some believed it to be a myth, others an ancient civilization lost to history. But Elias had uncovered a forgotten manuscript that hinted at its existence deep within the uncharted waters of the Pacific. He was determined to find it. As the storm subsided, a golden glow pierced the fog. The crew gasped as a magnificent city emerged from the mist. Towers of crystalline glass, arching bridges of marble, and streets paved with a shimmering material unlike any on Earth. It was untouched by time. Elias, along with his companions, Marina, the fearless navigator, and Dr. Renji Takahashi, an expert in lost civilizations, set foot on the eerily silent streets. The air hummed with an energy neither electrical nor magical, but something in between. The city was alive. They wandered through the abandoned metropolis, noticing peculiar details. Water in fountains remained frozen in midair, as though suspended in an unseen force. Clocks stood still, their hands motionless, and yet a whisper of movement lurked in the corners of their vision. At the heart of Chronosia stood a colossal hourglass, its sand shimmering like liquid gold. Inscribed upon its base were words in a language that none of them could read, except Elias. His fingers traced the carved letters as he whispered, "Time does not pass here. Time is kept." What does that mean, Elias? This city isn't just lost in time, it controls it. Their discovery was interrupted by a sudden shift in the air. A shadow moved through the streets, humanoid but flickering, as if caught between past and present. More figures emerged, specters of the city's lost inhabitants, trapped in an eternal moment. "You must leave. The Keeper of Time does not welcome visitors." Before Elias could respond, the city trembled. The hourglass at the center cracked. A deep voice resonated through the streets, shaking the ground. "Keeper, who dares disturb Chronosia?" A figure appeared atop a grand staircase, a being draped in robes woven with the shifting sands of time. His face was obscured by a golden mask, but his presence was suffocating. Renji the Keeper. The Keeper raised a hand and time warped around them. Marina gasped as her arm flickered, shifting between youth and age. Renji's body became translucent for a second before snapping back. "Keeper, you do not belong here!" Chronosia exists outside the flow of time to protect the world from its power. Elias spoke up, his voice tinged with curiosity and concern. "Elias, but why? What happened here?" This city was once the heart of time itself, ruled by those who could shape past, present, and future. But power breeds ambition. The chronomancers sought to manipulate time's fabric, bending it to their will. Wars were fought over seconds and centuries. The balance was shattered. Keeper. To prevent the collapse of reality, Chronosia was sealed, cut off from time itself. We exist in a moment that never ends. Those who enter may never leave. Elias asked, "Then how do we escape, Keeper? You cannot." Panic gripped Marina and Renji. The specters of the lost inhabitants watched in silent sorrow. Elias clenched his fists. He had come too far to be trapped. He turned to the hourglass. If time here was kept, perhaps it could be released. Ignoring the Keeper's warnings, Elias reached into his satchel and withdrew a relic he had discovered alongside the manuscript. A small golden key engraved with the same symbols as the hourglass. "Elias, this key, does it unlock time, Keeper? You do not understand its power." Elias took a deep breath and thrust the key into a hidden slot on the hourglass's base. A deafening crack split the air. The golden sand erupted into a storm, swirling around them in chaotic streams. The city shook. The specters screamed as they flickered between existence and oblivion. "Keeper, you have undone the seal!" Elias grabbed Marina and Renji as the world around them collapsed. The city blurred, buildings dissolving into mist, the sky darkened, the sun racing across the heavens in a maddening cycle. Then, silence. Elias awoke to the sound of seagulls. He was lying on a deserted shore, the ruins of their ship scattered along the sand. Marina groaned beside him, and Renji sat up, rubbing his head. The city was gone. The ocean stretched endlessly, with no sign it had ever existed. Elias's fingers brushed against something in the sand. The golden key now cracked and dull. A whisper lingered in the air. Whether the keeper's warning or a farewell, he could not tell. Marina. Was it real? Elias. Somewhere in some time it still is. And in the distance, just beyond the veil of mist, the golden glow flickered once more.